Hi guys, welcome back to part 5 of the Piper Cub clip wing build. Part 4 we finished with the wings we'd done and the fuselage was half covered. So in the interim period between part 4 and part 5 I've just covered the rest of the fuselage, show you in a minute, and the tail feathers, and I'm going to apply the varnish. So yeah, it's coming on. Hopefully this part 5 will finish the whole project off, and well, it will, because I'll edit it right down to just an hour long. I'm going to crack on with that, so I'll bend you down and show you what I've done. Covered the other tail plane elevator, and that's all done. Let's have a look. Just the spritz of water, and it comes out lovely and tight. Let's have a look at fuselage. Again, I've just sprayed it with water and it looks like a fuselage, which is good. It's what we wanted it to look like. You see what those stripes look like. Now the yellow's on. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? I always think of varnish as being sort of thick, horrible stuff. Oh, wait a minute, it is. Let's just pin that up. Right, a brush. This is the brush I used. So giving that a bit of a shape. I don't remember it being so thick before, you know. I'm just wondering if what to mind if I water it down too much. It's going to look a different colour, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. It's just, yeah, it's watered down quite a bit. Right, okay. Let's start with the fuselage, and I can put it up out the way then. Okay, I'll start on the bottom, and then we can observe what's happening. And I'll start right at the very nose. Can't hang about on the actual tissue, this is solid there, but it does soften it off considerably, so once I start I can't go back. I just got to, may as well do those bits there. I like the way it's putting a little bit extra thickness on where the formers are. Looks very antiquey, doesn't it? Let's get on with the tailplane and elevators, I think. I'll balance it on there when it's done. If I want to put a pin in there to hold it, bad idea, is it? That's where the hinge goes, that'll do nicely. Because with the wing I actually had doculum under it, didn't I? It looks to me like there might have been an advantage to doing that, if only to stop this sagging so bad. But I say, it might tighten out, so all is not lost. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I feel like a forger doing this, making a model look much older. I should be able to sell this model as a antique model from the 1940s or something. Not with an electric motor though. Comment on part 4 about the wing dihedral being so great. I was saying make a little spacer to go in there, but really good comment, and I had considered it, I must be honest, is to make a flat centre section up, and that centre section will correct the dihedral. Okay, looks horrible. I think we're going to be okay. This project has turned into something very different from what I imagined or originally envisaged it as. You know, it's basically the same thing, but this sort of darkened look and everything has really been a pleasure to do. I'm just going to put some hot air on it, guys, and then come back to you. I'm thinking of maybe putting on the hinge in the control surfaces and sticking them on. So that would be a big jump forward. Okay, so I've just fitted the tailplane and fin, and that's okay, that's drying. I was going to film doing it, but I'm watching Chris's live stream this Sunday, so you're going to have to just put up with a little update every so often, at least for the next hour anyway. So it's looking pretty cool, I think. Oh, I've made a change, by the way. Servos aren't going down the back anymore. Decided to put them in the front. So I put a couple of beams across, they're sitting there. And I thought they were smaller servos actually. These are, I've got two sets. These are the real small servos that you can get. 1.9 gram, are they? Look, these are bigger. So actually better for the job because the control surfaces are a little bit heavier. So yeah, they've gone in there okay. Quite happy with those. Chris's live stream is over and I'm back. And while that was on, I just shaped up the two little blocks that go at the back, just to fair in the fin and rudder, or fin anyway. And just going to put a little bit of white glue. I've just covered them in tissue and just using white glue as an adhesive. I'm just going to drop those in there. And then I'll colour them. I'll colour them with the stain varnish in a minute when it's dry. I'm thinking about the wing centre section. Wings have walked up a little bit. Well, they have, but also these end ribs have come in a little bit. I should have put a little brace in now. I have on some of the other slow flies. So that's a lot. So I'm thinking, and I had this thought, and I also had a comment that why don't I just make a new centre section, flat centre section, just to sit on top there, which isn't a bad idea at all. So I think I'll do that, and then I can reduce the dihedral down to a reasonable amount, probably about there will be more than enough. So I want to make a centre section to the width of the fuselage, and then the ribs can sit on the side rails and glue on properly. And a good idea to put like almost a dummy main spar in there, but just a piece of wood, sort of 1/2 inch by 1/8 across, just to sort of tie in the two centre bits. And I'll tell you what, Cubs actually have a window continued along the top. Whether I go to full width or just up to that spar and then put a bit of 1/32 balsa sheet in there, might do that. It's going to look really good. So in fact, it's going to enhance it because it's going to have a piece of glazing up there. So let me measure that up, and I'll draw it on a bit of paper and cut out a bit of 1/8 sheet, and we'll have a go at building that. Incidentally, fitting servos down like that is quite tricky. So all I did was this is 16th fly it's on, all I did was to mount the servos, well in fact glue the servos. I CA'd the lugs onto the bit of plywood each side and then drilled the holes and put the screws in, and then as a unit put it in, bent down, brought it up and CA'd it under the side rails. So it was really easy to install those. Centre section, first of all we'll measure this. I think it might taper, I'm not sure. This ruler's only got inches. Fantastic, lovely old rule. Yeah, so we're looking at 2 1/8, 2 1/16. Close enough. Cut out 2 1/8 ribs and some leading and trailing edge. I also, on the aeroplane itself, as it's not dihedraled anymore, I'm going to have to put a central piece up here, in here, to bring that up to the same level. So I'll glue a piece of wood on the top and make sure it's level. Looks about 1/8 inch, something like that. And then I can utilise all 3 contact surfaces. Okay, so I've cut out a like centre spar, if you like, which is got it set at the correct angle to bring the dihedral down. I want to glue it together with white glue and go away and let it set. Here we are, so that will be held now at the correct angle for the wing to come onto in there when it's sanded. Just be at the right angle. So I'll just put some corner gussets in, guys, and then when we come back we can take that off and sand it, and that'll be the centre section. Okay, it's been a couple of hours, so let's have a look. Should be well dry by now. Hold it down when you're pulling the pins. She'll come a crop up. Yeah, this little extra bit is actually a good thing that it happened, because it will give me the opportunity to put a nice glazed window there in the top. It's not quite fitting on there because the windshield's curling around, so I'm just going to put a little curve in it to match. It'll sit flat then. There we go, and that dihedral doesn't look out of the way at all. It looks just nice. Been busy, made a little centre section and given it a lick of paint, put a bit of tissue on, darkened it up, so that will now fit on there like that. But first I'm going to glue the wings onto it, but before I can do that I want to glaze it. So I've cut a pattern, transferred it to a piece of celluloid. I'm going to glue that on there, and I'm going to got some masking tape ready just to stick it down until it dries. Now normally it's 24 hours, well, can be, but I'm going to see if I can speed it up a bit because I want to crack on. Things I've still got to do actually for the fuselage is make a tail wheel, connect the servos up to the control surfaces, and what else? Oh, paint propeller, and I want to darken the wheels up a bit, put some simulated bigger tyres on it, and that will probably do. There, like that. This stuff dries clear. Okay, I'll put one right at the top for starters. Like that one there. So we'll let that set, and that will be the centre section made. I think that for a afterthought, that's come out really nice. It's dried pretty well. It's been a couple of hours, so I think there's no reason why I can't actually glue the wings onto this now. I'm going to use white glue for this. Slow setting, give me a chance to. There we go. Nice. Just got to push that up till that gap closes. That looks like it's going to be about there. Still quite a bit of dihedral on here, but I think it's acceptable. Not too much, not too little. Okay, let's glue it on. Big step, guys, big step. Okay. The colour match is pretty good, so I'm happy with that. Quite as clipped as it was, I suppose. Okay, so as long as that's down, front and back, which it is, and that's in the same place, fourth rib down, it can't be anything but equal. Well, that's quite a bit of dihedral there, but I think it's going to look great. Okay, as you can see, the wing is still drying, but I've been playing with the control surfaces, and I made up a pair of push rods. It's just 1.5mm carbon rod, so they just come straight out the back. I've just threaded them through the tissue down, and they cross over, so that one goes that way, that one goes that way. It's better geometry. And just bent up a simple little hook and slid on some heat shrink and just tightened it up, and I've done that both ends. There's no actual adjustment, but I can adjust it on the radio. I'm not too worried, or I might even be able to just push it. They're quite tight, just push it against the heat shrink. So it makes for a nice easy install. And the battery is in the front, the speed controller and receiver are both in the second compartment. And this is how they work. I've got rudder, maximum throw with Expo, of course, and the elevator. I've knocked it down a little bit, quite a lot of throw. So, incidentally, if you put the control, use the inside holes on the control arms, you get a lot more torque, because you get less movement but more power. And the hinges are slightly stiff, so I put them on the inside anyway. Oh, the other thing I've done is I found a little tail wheel from an old kit, and it's just got a nice amount of spring in it when you sit it on the ground, so it looks probably a little bit on the large side, but it's functional. So prop is painted. I could put that on, but I don't put the prop on. It just scares me to put the prop on, although perhaps I ought to try it and then take it off again just to make sure it is as it should be. Let me just take that off of there and pop an O-ring on. Just let me angle you a little bit. If you're going to miss it, you're going to miss it. There we go. I think you're on there. Yeah, some O-rings here. These are actually prop savers, so they're designed to flex and turn like that. So the propeller can flex if it hits the ground. Let's try it. Engine's running backwards. Do you know what? I held that motor and I thought it's definitely going clockwise. I was looking at it from the back, but it's running backwards. So I just have to turn the connection round. There we go. Doesn't it look lovely with the propeller arc? I love the look of that. That's got plenty of power. Okay, right, so that's the servo's done. All I need to do now is to glue on the wing and put on the wheels, and one more thing I haven't done, and that is to put a pilot in there. And it might be prudent to do that before I glue the wing on, while I can sort of get in there. Let's remove the wing, because this is going to be coming up now. Just angle you in a little bit. This will be coming up now to gluing on stage. And then the last thing to do then will be make the struts. That'll be it done. That'll be this model built when I get on with the slow fly Spitfire. This one's going to have its maiden flight down at Winnard's Perch in a few days' time. And when that has happened, if you're watching this after the event, I will link to the maiden flight at the end of this video if you want to skip ahead and see how she fares. But that's all in the future, which hasn't happened yet. See how bouncy it is on the tail wheel. That's great. This wing feels so delicate. There we are. It's moving about because the cockpit glazing at the front is pushing the leading edge around a bit. Definitely needs the pilot. I do like the cockpit, the glazing at the top, that looks really smart. Okay, let me sort out some pilots, I think. I've got pilots. Ta-da! Pilot and co-pilot. Well, pilot and passenger really. And the pilot is, actually I was going to say it was me, but I could go in the passenger seat. Why not, eh? And I'll leave my favourite daughter in the P1 position. Cut a slot in that paper. I'll just sit down and have a treat. Okay, so let's see. Pilot. The cockpit comes alive when you've got people in it. Fantastic. Okay, there's nothing else for it, guys, but stick that wing on. Okay, I'll put it in the front first, drop it into the back like that. Okay, let's dismount you and you can have a closer look. It actually looks quite big sitting on the bench, doesn't it? Looks great with the prop on. Okay guys, there she is, all finished. Struts on and painted up, ready for a test fly. Probably be at the indoor session, then I can just take off and land gently. CG is maybe slightly tail heavy, but not enough to warrant putting some lead in the nose, so I'll gently take off, see how it feels. Otherwise, yep, ready to go. Thanks for watching and join me for the maiden.